And thank you for joining us for the news at 7. I'm Leslie Mays. It is time now to get you up to speed on today's top headlines. A West Hartford Board of Education meeting is just getting underway right now, and people were rallying outside. And an investigation is now underway in Norwich after a man died at an apartment fire. It is National Voter Registration Day. Across our country, organizations are working to get people registered. Ryan, thank you. The rising cost of living in Connecticut is making it even more difficult for many families in this state to just get by. That is one of the key conclusions of the latest ALICE report from the United Way of Connecticut. ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, and Employed. People who fall under the ALICE designation earn more than federal poverty levels, but still struggle to afford basic needs. To walk us through more of this report, we are joined now by Lisa Tepper Bates, who is president and CEO of the United Way of Connecticut. Lisa, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Your last ALICE report, it focused on the cost of living in 2018. What kinds of changes have you seen here in Connecticut in the time since then, especially when you factor in the fact that we've had an entire global pandemic in between then and now?
Their bills.
We see these new numbers now that say that nearly $130,000 is the income that's necessary really to sustain a family of 4 here in Connecticut. What does your report find about the increase in wages, the needed wages in order for folks to survive in our when you think about those two sets of numbers? And then it certainly doesn't leave a lot of space for things like saving for the future or certainly anything fun that a family might want to do outside of that. Taking a look at something else, the report takes into account some of the government benefits that families received in 2021, and that includes things like the enhanced federal child tax credit. What kind of support did you see that offer? How is that bared out in the numbers, and what is it going to mean now that families won't have access to it anymore? At or below that ALICE threshold, and are there certain groups that you're finding are more impacted than others?
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates, president and CEO of the United Way of Connecticut, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Really interesting information there. The ALICE report, it also looked at the areas of our state that are most in need. Of Connecticut's 8 counties, 5 have around 40% of their population living at or below the ALICE threshold. Eversource is rolling out a new low-income discount rate. Coming up next year on the news at 7, how a local fire department is using. Welcome back. Our state continues to work on efforts to improve roadway safety. The Vision Zero Council, they met today to go over projects they are considering for the upcoming year. Now, the goal is to reduce the number of deadly crashes on Connecticut roads. One of those projects is driver alcohol detection system safety 2030. All right, stay with us. Tonight's take. If you've ever spent time down at Foxwoods Resort Casino, you may have thought about who is keeping you safe when you're there. In the case of a fire or medical emergency, the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Fire Department is who responds. Now that department is getting some new funding through FEMA grants. Jane Caffrey shows us how that money is going to be used. It's all new at 7.
Is the work that the fire department's doing life-saving?
Absolutely. Every day we don't know what the call is going to come in, so they respond hoping for the best. Our goal is to make the tribal nation, the reservation, and the Foxwoods Casino Resort as safe as possible.
For NBC Connecticut News, I'm Jane Caffrey.
We turn now to a beautiful look at the northern lights. They illuminated the night sky in many parts of the country last night. Take a look. We want you to see some time-lapse video that came to take away. A new report from the United Way of Connecticut shows 39% of households in our state are barely able to afford the essentials. The United Way hopes this data can be used to better inform the public as well as policymakers about what it takes to actually survive in Connecticut. The Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Fire Department has received grants from FEMA. The department plans to use the nearly $130,000 to better train their firefighters and get specialized equipment. And picking the right car seat, it is getting a little easier thanks to a quiz from Consumer Reports. It asks about your car type, your budget, your lifestyle, and other factors to find the best one for your family. And that quiz, it is free. You can find it at consumerreports.org/babies. That's going to do it for the news at 7 tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Leslie Mays. We're going to have more local news and updates as well as Connecticut's most accurate forecast when we see you tonight for the news at 11. In the meantime, you have a great evening.